After the Snow, the podcast that's giving you everything about Snowfall, the real, the fake, behind the scenes. You know, we're doing it with the one and only Freeway Rick Ross, the man whose life story inspired Snowfall, and my partner in After the Snow.
What's
going
Dave?
on, Rick?
Man,
What's up? What's up?
Long weekend, man. Long weekend. A lot of travel.
Yeah,
Both of us.
We're exactly. We're a couple of days behind, but just to let the viewers and the listeners know, we'll be caught up this week now, so you can expect a new episode. What will that be? Thursday on the audio and Friday on the video. So that's going to be the schedule. The new episodes of Snowfall air on Wednesday nights, and you're going to get our reaction to that episode the next day on all the podcast apps, and then the following day on the Friday on the Breakbeat Media YouTube. But we're here. Yeah, we're here. We're here today. Go ahead.
I'm ready, man. This is my first time ever doing something like this. Breaking down a TV series. So for me, this is a new experience, and I hope the audience understand that I ain't no expert movie breaker downer, but after starting to watch the show, I'm starting to like what I'm doing. I'm liking critiquing other people's work. Like never before. And I imagine this is probably going to even help me once we start shooting the movie. So that I don't allow the people in there to do the things that I don't think they should be doing. Or
Right.
It's going to be interesting. And it's getting more interesting. So I'm ready to go, man.
Well, that makes me happy to hear that it's feeling good to you as we're going forward.
I got on one of my favorite shirts today. The real Rick Ross is now the rapper.
Let him know.
So let's go, man. I got on my lucky shirt. So hopefully I should do real good today.
Yeah. All right. Well, man. So let's get right into it. So episode 3 of Snowfall came on a few days ago. We all watched it, and a lot of things developing. So just tell us your top off the head thoughts from watching that new episode.
Well, what really caught my attention, and which is pretty much a fact about being a drug dealer, especially a black drug dealer, is we start to fight over the power. You might bring somebody in, and then they don't want to work with you anymore. Once they start having some money, they get too good for you. You ain't good enough for them, so they want to break off on their own. And I'm seeing that happen right now with Franklin and the uncle and the auntie. They want their own power. They feel like that they're doing certain things that Franklin hasn't been doing. I think she said something like Franklin was talking about doing real estate. So go ahead and do real estate and let them keep the drug business going.
Right.
Some to that extent. But that's real. When I look back at my life, all the people that I had brought into the game and taught the game and groomed them and everything, a lot of them became my competition.
But what about loyalty? I mean, is there any loyalty, in the business? Did you have some, at least a few people that were loyal, or, and that's something I can talk about too. I went through a lot, over the years with the Source magazine, dealing with
loyalty
that
is something that's hard. It's hard for people in general. I think not just in the drug game. I just think that it maybe just be an American thing, where I want it all. I want to be the man, and that's natural. Every man wants to be the king of the kingdom, but at the same time, we do need loyalty. We do need somebody to say, you know what, this guy helped me. I'm gonna stay by his side. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not gonna leave him.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to come by, and it's a value that, it's been diminished a lot. I think over the years. I mean, it used to be a staple, within hip hop was, that concept of loyalty and, trust, and keeping it 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah. And then thinking about that, I was really surprised. The show kind of threw me, when they went to the reader, and it's funny, my mom was big into that stuff.
mm,
She used to go to readers, and she took me there, and I kind of got into them a little bit too. Where people would predict your future, what was going to happen to you. We used to go to a lady named Sister Humphrey, and I'm
okay,
gonna be honest with you, man. Sometimes these people could she could tell you, she could almost lay it out to you, what was gonna happen. My mom had two of them. Sister Pages was another one that could, put
mm,
their hands on you and pretty much tell you the things that was gonna be taking place in your life. So uh, when I saw that, it just kind of like made me smile a little bit, like wow, they
uh-huh,
got a reader in here. Uh, it wasn't dressed up like them. They were dressed like normal women.
okay.
They were Christians, diehard Christians. Uh, but what really threw me is when I thought they were going to kill. Uh, uh, what's my man from the Low Bottoms you was talking about?
Oh, Scully.
I thought they were going to kill Scully. So when Scully popped out of the room, and killed his boy, that took me for a loop. But I thought about it and I said, you know what? If the guy was uh, cunning enough to kill Scully, to have Scully killed, then he probably would eventually got them too. So they probably made the right move on that front.
That was probably the biggest surprise of the episode last night. Because you're not, maybe some people saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. I thought they were going to take out Scully too. Um,
Yeah, because
but
Scully
yeah,
was a lunatic.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah. And we don't. I mean, here in LA, we didn't have guys running around like Scully. In our neighborhood, in the black community, we don't really have the structure that other races have as far as a mob bosses. Well, this guy is just a deranging leader. It don't really work like that with us. Now we have guys that you could say is a shot caller, but not to the point to where uh, they had it in there where Scully was like the old almighty say, and you get killed. And then when I see him walking around with all the guns, when we do dope deals, we don't do dope deals with guns drawn out like that. There, that was a bit much.
right, right. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely some Hollywood elements there. But yeah, we know with the Scully thing, there's one point towards the end where Auntie Louie is like, we found warmth in the hospital, and they're thinking back to the end of last season, which you may not have gotten up to that yet, but at the end of last season, Scully goes into the hospital. Auntie Louie's in the hospital bed, and he creeps up on her and gets in on her and is about to kill her, but she talks him down from killing her. And then Jerome walks in the room. They have a little standoff for a minute, but Scully had been shot in his leg, and he was bleeding from his leg for the last hour, whatever that he'd been, running. And anyway, he ends up passing out. But she talks him down from uh, killing her, and basically,
Okay,
oh, this will never end, Scully. Then it's going to keep going, the violence, and you know, bop, 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 bop. And so that's what she's referring back to later in the show, and she's like, we found warmth in the hospital, found a way to come together. Let's keep that going. So it seems a little unrealistic with somebody as erratic as Scully is.
I agree. I agree. That's a
Yeah.
that's a total different spin for me. And then and just feeding off of that, in real life, the shot callers don't do the murders. You know what I'm saying? Like not with that kind of army. He got guys all around him with guns and ready to do anything he say. Why would he be the one creeping into the hospital? And I guess that's another one of those espionage things too. Where only some of them are so slick that they can walk through walls and get through locked doors. And, almost the same thing with the meeting with Teddy, and when Teddy was spying on Franklin and my other man, the big
Yeah.
Spanish guy.
Also, also.
Yeah, also, and for some reason, Teddy picks. I mean, Franklin picks up that Teddy's watching him. And
Right.
he changes the whole tone of the conversation and throws the whole thing off. That was bizarre to me as well. To see that happen. I mean, it's like these guys are almost uh, um, reading the future. Like they fortune tellers almost. And then I couldn't understand why would Teddy be spying on Franklin. What was the purpose? Did he ever give him any reason to be not expecting Franklin to be loyal and honest? I mean, far as I could have saw in the movie, so forth, Franklin has been really submissive to Teddy.
Yeah, it was yeah, that remains to be seen. Yeah, I don't really have a good explanation of why outside of, they're building up obviously the tension between Teddy and Franklin, and heading towards some kind of showdown. But why is he spying on them? And then, like you said, how does Franklin figure that out? Is that just like some instinct? Like, is that his just street instincts kicking in, where he like, oh, wait a minute, like what do you think about that?
And then I haven't saw the rest of the show either, because
Okay.
he did mention in there about the location. It was a different location, so
Hmm.
that could have, it was a real remote location. So I don't know how Teddy had normally, but I think that was Teddy's first drop for him since he had been back.
Yes.
So having a
Yeah. Yeah.
different so having a different location wouldn't have been really surprising.
Yeah.
Like when we did our drops, we would do our drops in shopping centers, because basically what we did is we didn't exchange bags, we exchanged cars. We would just pull up in the car and tell them the key was in the car, and they basically would just jump in the car and take the whole car. And it was really bizarre to me that they got all this money and they carry these little bags of dope. Like, man, you can't put no you can't put no whole bunch of kilos in them bags, nor a whole bunch of money either. When we used to do our exchanges, we would have duffel bags. Those big army duffel bags.
Hmm.
We would be using those, and most of the time they would be full to the top, and sometimes it'd be two of them with money and with dope. So when I see these guys got money stacked and look like Fort Knox in that thing, and they carrying these little bitty duffel bags of cocaine, it's like, man, they
Yeah.
they they slipped, they missed
Yeah.
this
This is
one.
where they needed you on set, but it's on set to keep these things in check. But yeah, the Teddy and Franklin situation. I mean, it kind of was making me think about your situation with Danilo. Now, we talked about Danilo a good bit last week. Now, one of the big differences in your life and the TV show, of course, is that you didn't know Danilo was working as an operative for the CIA.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but ultimately, Danilo was the one that set you up and
He was
got you indicted and convicted.
correct.
Um,
And a life
so
sentence. But had I known he was a CIA operative, boy, I would have went hard, hard, hard. Because I was I was selling dope as if um, I'm just a normal guy. Just trying to beat the system, because that's really what when you're a dope dealer, that's really what you're doing. You're trying to beat the system. So I dealt drugs as if I was just a normal everyday guy. Trying to get over on the system, and that's the way I rode with that. But had I known, that these guys are bringing the drugs in on military planes, and the money is safe, and the drugs are safe, I would have, I would have, I would have went harder. I could have did more. You know,
mhm.
I could have
you,
borrowed money. I could have invited other people in, knowing that their money was secure. Like with me, I wouldn't take money from people if I couldn't guarantee it.
mhm.
Because that could cause problems. You get
Sure.
$1 million, a couple $1 million from a guy, and you can't pay him back. Because the shipment got busted. That's a problem.
Right.
You know, and I didn't really want those problems in my life. I felt that it was better to spend my own money.
So what what do you think Franklin can possibly do in this situation, knowing he's dealing with the CIA? You know, he's been saying, oh, you know, basically he's just got to, you know, let these things go. But ultimately, he's got to be starting to think about where things are going. We're seeing that. But what do you think? You know, what could you
Well,
do in that type of
well,
situation?
you know, he was pretty much saying that you're owned by the CIA. You know, that the
Yeah.
CIA owns you. You know, anybody, he said something like, anybody the CIA send to you, that's who you work with. Anybody that come to you, that's who you work with. Whatever they say, that's what you do. And with me, you know, I remember my mom, when she found my first time I knew I had $100,000. My mom found it in my closet and had it on the couch when I come back in the house and had counted it out and everything. I was like, wow. And she wanted to know, could I get out of the game? You know, or was I owned by the game? And you know, I told her at that time that I could do whatever I wanted to do. That um, I was the game. You know, that didn't nobody own me. That there was nobody no more powerful than me in the game. And you know, I was strong. You know, my ego probably was big at the time, but you know, I was young too. I was only 20, maybe 21 years old. You know, so I'm feeling like King Kong, and then you know, I'm growing up in a gang neighborhood. So even though I probably was not in a gang, I still probably had a gang mentality in some sense, knowing that I could go and get guys that would ride with me. You know, if it was something that I wanted to do, uh, uh, and they gave me a sense of confidence that nobody would be coming in our neighborhood uh, punking us out per se.
I did want to ask you how you managed to do that all those years. I mean, being basically, you know, independent of any of the gangs and having relationships. I mean, were you doing business across the board with different, you know, folks that were tied to the different gangs?
Oh,
And is
absolutely,
that what helped? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I could tell you how I first found out that the gangbangers would work. There was a guy in LA named Honcho, and Honcho was from Grape Street Crip, and um, big dude, maybe 22-inch arms. You know, a dude you don't want to fight. Let me tell you that deal.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to fight Honcho.
Right.
Um, I had seen him at the street races, snatch dudes out their cars, and you know, riding with 30, 40 dudes, and you know, just he was a mobster really. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We had a party, my little car club. We had a party, and we had just started selling cocaine too. We were just selling cocaine, and I had a little guy in my club named Young Tommy, who was about 15 at the time. Uh, he had been selling drugs with me and had just fixed his lowrider up, and so um, Honcho pulled up to our party with his lowrider, and he saw Tommy's car, and you know Tommy's car got one of these $3,000 or $4,000 paint job, you know, and nobody in LA really spending this kind of money on cars at this time. We the first ones that's doing it because we the first ones selling cocaine. So Honcho pulled up in front of him and asked him, do he want to hop his car? And he don't know. Tommy got brand new hookup, car C-framed. I mean, everything you could do to the
Mm-hmm.
car, he done did it. He only 15 years old. So, you know, when he makes his money, all his money is going into his car. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
he out jumps Honcho. And so now Honcho want to beat him up. And so I walk up and I got a pistol in my pocket. And I was like, nah, Honcho, you ain't whooping nobody out here today. And
Uh-huh.
you know, I put my hand on the pistol and he saw the pistol. And oh, you going to put a pistol on me? And he takes off. So I don't see him again for about 8, 9 months, and at this time I'm doing real good right now. You know, I'm over $100,000 now in cash, and I'm at the street races. I'm going to pick up a little chick from the street. I mean, not from the street race, from the skating ring, and all this is in my book too. I talk about it in my
Mm-hmm.
book. He got mad at me too when I mentioned his name in my book. He forgot
Uh-huh.
when we were in prison. I saw him. We was in transit, and I saw him in transit, and I asked him, could I do it? But
Oh.
he forgot he gave me permission.
All right.
so
Well,
so,
sure you
so
reminded him.
I saw him at the street races, and he got about 4 guys with him, and I was scared to death because I didn't have a pistol. I'm inside the street, inside the skating ring, and in the skate ring they got metal detectors, and they walked up to me, and I said, "I'm finna get my ass beat tonight,"
Mm.
and he started smiling at me. He said, "Yeah, I heard you're doing real good for yourself." And I took a breath. Oh my goodness. I knew he wasn't
Yeah,
gonna beat me up, so I said, "Yeah, I
yeah,
am." I said, "Won't you come by my house tomorrow?" And he
yeah.
came by, and I threw him 8 ounces of cocaine, and he came up off of that. And when I saw
Nice.
that, I started thinking, well, Tyree from the Nickersons, Dean from the Pueblos, the Low Bottoms,
Hmm.
what they called it, and I
Mm-hmm.
just started thinking about all the guys that I knew that had a high level of what is it, authority or recognition, and I just started going doing all of them the same thing, giving them 4 or 5 ounces. And at this time, ounces worth. I was selling ounces at like 2,400, so they could take that and double it up or triple it up. So I was blessing them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of how
Smart.
I got my. I mean, I was always cool, with them anyway because I ain't never shot nobody's homeboy. I ain't been fighting with their homeboys, so I was okay. You know what I'm saying? Not because sometimes I would be in one of the blood neighborhoods and I would hear the little homies going, "That's that Ricket." That's what they stand for, Crip. That's that Ricky, but it didn't bother me because I really didn't gang bang. If you say something back, the fight could break out or whatever, would take place. But I always had enough sense to say, I ain't gonna let that bother me and stop our money. We're gonna get this money.
Okay, so let's take it back to Scully. Scully, is the character in the show who is,
A blood.
this.
He's dressed like a
Okay,
blood. I would say he was a blood, and he's in the low
okay,
bottoms too. So that definitely would be the bloods.
okay. What's the low bottoms?
The low bottoms is some projects. They call it Peblos. Um, that was the name that the city when they built it or whoever built it named it the Peblos. It later became a whole little area called the Low Bottoms, and this is like south of downtown Los Angeles, kind of east of where I was from. A bunch of projects,
Hmm.
and could be dangerous. The low
Did
bottoms can be dangerous.
did they look anything like the way they show in the project with Scully
No,
here?
no,
No.
totally different than that. That looked more like an apartment complex. The projects was much bigger than that, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a fence around it. You could just run in and out. Matter of fact, the projects were great places to sell dope. Because it was so many ways that you could get away from the cops. Um, and a lot of times they sold right inside of the parking lots. Where the where people park their cars, and then they would have lookouts and the whole 9 yards. So, and no guns. I mean, not no guns, but not guns like they had. It'd probably be 2 or 3 people out with pistols because a lot of times those projects were fighting with other neighborhoods as well. Gang stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now Scully's behavior. I mean, he's he's wild in this show. We see
Past
him.
wow, past wow, more
Yeah,
like lunatic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we
That was
see him cut.
lunatic.
Is there any anything realistic about that? I mean, were the guys that crazy chopping somebody's ear off and having the people like strung up outside, right, naked
Naked,
hanging there with a yeah,
naked,
right,
outside naked in L.A. Right with
yeah.
helicopters. We got L.A. has about 8 or 9 helicopters that constantly patrol our community. Each area has its own helicopter that patrols that area, and those helicopters have a pretty good view. So no way you're gonna have somebody sitting outside naked. Nah, make believe. Total.
Yeah, yeah, he's a little too much, but we see they're keeping him going. I think also going back to him and Jerome and Auntie Louie, you know connecting. through flipping that that situation on the mellow guy. Um, I think Jerome and Louie may be thinking about Franklin. Like, hey, we maybe they feel like they're safer or more in a stronger position aligned with Scully, against Franklin going forward because they're still having this dispute, over the pricing. And he Franklin's now like, I want y'all to come back in. We got to do this, you know, because when he met with Reed, we didn't talk about that either. And there's a couple things in that, but one of them was the pricing thing, and Reed was like, "Look, man, you became a middleman in your own organization, and now you want me to give you a break, and we can't do that right now." So
Well, really, what I would be looking at is who has the strongest position. Whenever I do deals like that, I was always trying to see who are in the stronger position. Did they need the money better than I need the cocaine, or did I need the cocaine better than they need the money? And once you figure that out, who's in the strongest position, that's who really has a say so. Um, it's almost like Franklin gave Reed the power, without even analyzing uh, Reed's need for money. Why was Reed back? Was the movement that they were doing, was it hurting? And that has always been one of my strong points that I do with people when I do business, is I try to figure out what are their needs. Why are they trying to do this deal? And I might have did, with me, I might have, if I'd have been Franklin, I probably would have said something like, "Okay, Reed, we're gonna do 100 keys at 10. I'm gonna do that for you. But after that, we're gonna go back to the 9."
right,
Some
right.
kind of way, when you negotiate. But what I noticed is Franklin didn't even negotiate with him. I kind of believe that Franklin's a little intimidated by Reed.
Hmm.
Knowing that Reed could have possibly killed his dad. I know Reed keep denying it to everybody, but the guy, the head guy who met with Reed, asked him, would he be able to work with the what did he call Franklin? The oh God, what he
Oh,
called him?
I
The
don't know. Yeah, at knowing what he did to his dad, could you still work with him?
Yeah, yeah.
That, yeah,
Do you think Franklin would still work with you? Because he was
right,
questioning it as if he was saying, if somebody had did that to my dad, I
right,
wouldn't fuck with him.
right.
And that question, that brings me to question, why was Franklin uh, 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 still working with him, and was Franklin intimidated by him?
On the other hand, Franklin also has been saying, like, Alton, his dad, brought it on himself. He's used that justification a couple times
What
in this
people do that
conversation.
when they can't make a move? They'll put it on the victim, uh, so that they don't have to take action. So that he don't have to make amends. So he don't have to go and take care of Reed. He would say that it was his dad's fault. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah,
if I'm afraid to move, then I'll blame it on this so that I don't have to make that move. So that I don't
right,
have to kill Reed. But
right.
he's already suspecting Reed, for something. The reason that he changed at the scene. Remember, he changed the topic of the conversation,
Yeah,
and then after the next day, he goes back to the location and investigates and find out that Reed was there, spying on him. Remember, he's looking out of the same window that Reed was looking out of, uh,
hmm,
um, and I didn't get the whole scope of what he had figured out from that, but that leads me to believe that Franklin doesn't really trust Reed.
right,
Some
right,
kind of way. I don't
right.
know what part he don't trust. Or do we think Reed is gonna try to kill him? Because you remember Reed kidnapped him early on, him and his guy, and
Yeah,
had him in a position to where he could have did whatever he wanted to do with him.
yeah. I don't know. I think that's the big question, really, in my mind. Is like, where could this go? Like, what way could Franklin flip things to, avoid inevitable, being set up, or having Reed or Teddy, turn on him. Um, so
I'm wondering, are
we're
they gonna get Franklin out of this without ever going to jail? You know, that's gonna be amazing.
right.
Because we haven't saw any real DEA action. In this thing, no DEA investigations.
That's
It's
true.
like they having a free run of the whole world. You get to do real estate. You can take your money and put it in the bank, and you can buy real estate with it.
Yeah.
And in the real world, it just doesn't work like that. When you start buying big real estate deals, you have to figure out ways to launder the money. Uh, um, it's just
Well, they
the TV show is just, but as real life, like I said earlier, here you are with rooms of money, just stacks and stacks of money, but then you're only buying a duffel bag of cocaine, and you only have a duffel bag of money. And when I went and bought dope, I took literally almost all my money every time I went and bought.
yeah.
If they would have caught me a couple times, you know, if they'd have caught me, I would have been. I wouldn't have money to buy commissary.
Right. Right.
Because I understood the power of my money. My money got me the price. My money allowed me to win my territory. I used my money to win my territory. My price won my territory. I didn't use vicious force or intimidation to do that.
So this episode, the end of it is basically, setting up where things are going between Franklin and Jerome and his Aunt Louie, right? Because they're having this meeting at the end, and Franklin's like, there's nothing that I'm not prepared to do to keep this thing, together and going, and you guys got to come back in. And they're still, holding out, trying to get the price and wanting to be independent. Um, what do we
So they
think
could
is
have
gonna?
took that. They could have took that as if he's willing to kill them because they already saw him kill his best friend. How much different is it from the best friend and an uncle
Yeah.
and an auntie who's really not his auntie, but his uncle's wife. You're talking about those things could be intimidating to somebody. That could be to me that would be a threat almost. Knowing Franklin's background, like you killed a dude who you loved. Um, how much do you really love me? How much more valuable is my life to you um, accomplishing your goals?
Right. So
Because
where do you think it's going? What do you think is going to happen with
I could
Franklin
see
and?
them. I could see them going to war. I could
Mm,
see Franklin and the uncle and auntie going to war. I think the auntie and the uncle probably, in my personal opinion, from what I saw so far, would be in a more powerful position now that they got Scully
hmm
and his crew, on their team. Because I think the auntie and the uncle are more on the street than what Franklin is. Franklin now is running around with his new girlfriend and they doing real estate deals, and he's not really hitting the street anymore. And whoever's hitting the street is gonna have the power with the street.
Yeah, there was a scene with Veronique, his new lady, and they were talking about 2 more days till the paperwork is in on this $10 million investment property deal. So that's going to be interesting to see, what happens with that kind of business that Franklin's getting into.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
pulls him more and more away from the street. Well, it should be. I don't know if it is or not, but it should be pulling him more from the street. But we already know that the more he leaves the street, uh, the less Teddy's gonna like it. So really, what may be getting set up, now I won't be surprised if we don't run Teddy into the uncle and auntie here somewhere. Where they have a meet up and they connect. And try to push Franklin all the way out of the business.
Right. I could definitely see that happening. Yeah.
Because when you
Yeah.
look at it, Franklin really only has what two real associates, that he's associating himself with. And I mean, the uncle and the auntie, but they're not even working with him anymore.
Right. Right.
So you're talking about he only really has two people that he's really associating with now in the series. So he has to build up a team. He don't really have a team right now.
That's right.
In my opinion, I mean, from what I see,
Well,
maybe I missed something, but the uncle and auntie, they've just built up. They just pulled in another real team member because they saved his life.
yeah, man. So we're three episodes in to the new season. It's gonna be 10. So we're just really heating up, and you know, this is going good. I think we're starting to really hit a stride here with our podcast, and looking forward to being back. Like I said, on a timely basis for folks that really want to
And
stay
I'm gonna
up.
catch up. I'm gonna catch up, y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was I boycotted this series. The whole time that it been out, and wasn't easy for me to start watching this stuff, man. And I mean, I'm getting into it, but it's still not something that I just like flow with. Like I'm
Right.
enjoying it. But it's coming. It's coming.
Now, tell everyone about this boxing thing you got coming up. We were talking about, and your
Oh
whole
yeah,
movement, in your whole move into boxing, because I don't think we shared much about that with everyone.
Well, when I was on the streets, I started going to boxing matches, and I went to the Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler fight in Vegas at Caesar's Palace. That's when
Ooh.
Caesar's Palace was the place. And Don King came up and he shook everybody's hand at this table. We were having breakfast. It was probably about 15 or 20 of us. We balling. We got the biggest table in the casino,
Uh-huh.
and we were having breakfast with our girls. And Don King came over to the table and he shook everybody's hand. Well, when I was sitting in prison, I thought back to what if I would have told Don King that day that I had $3 million to invest with him,
Mm.
and I wanted to get in business with him. Well, where would I have been? Would I have been in prison?
Mm.
And I didn't think so. So
Mm.
one of the things that I try to do is whenever I make a mistake, I try to correct it. So when I got out, I went to Don King and I told him I wanted to work for him, and he didn't have to pay me. I didn't want any pay. I just wanted to help him.
Okay.
Uh, it didn't happen. He didn't give me the
No.
opportunity. No, 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 no.
Okay.
And also, when I got home, Floyd Mayweather picked me up from the halfway house the day that I got out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all that combined, I added it all up, and so now I want to be the king of boxing. So one of my really really good fighters will be fighting in Philadelphia on the 25th of this month, Bashan Champ, and I'm gonna be there supporting him, and we're gonna market and just have a ball, man. We're gonna turn up. We're gonna try to bring it like the old boxing days when Mike Tyson used to fight, and Sugar Ray Leonard. It was an event. So we're gonna
Yeah.
try to make an event out of it here in Philadelphia on the 25th.
Okay. What's his weight class?
147.
Okay. And what's his record?
He's 2-0 right now.
Okay.
Um, he'll be 3-0 at the 25th.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Now,
I got like 6, maybe 7 fighters signed right now. Matter of fact, when I went to Vegas yesterday, I met up with 2 more boxers that possibly might sign with me. Eventually, I want to get my own TV deal where I can start throwing my own shows and just just dominate this boxing, man, like I do with so many other things.
yeah. Yeah. So where's the Philadelphia fight taking place?
You know what? I think it's the 2300 arena. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not positively sure of that.
Okay.
The flyer be posted on my social media though. It'll be all over my social media, and
Okay.
everybody can go to Bashan Champ's page on social media, and it'll be on his page. And uh, I hope everybody following
Yeah. Do you know it? You know his Instagram?
Bashan Champ,
How you spell it?
champion. My spelling ain't one of my highlights,
All
man.
right,
I
Rashawn
get
Champion.
everything. I get everything posted though. Everybody,
Yeah.
check me out on
Yeah,
Instagram,
we'll
Facebook.
put it up
I
there
have the flyers
uh,
posted up there,
on.
so
Yeah,
that they can see
we'll
them.
definitely post about it. Awesome, awesome. All right, cool. Well, Rick, man, we have a short week. We'll be back in a few days to talk about episode 4. I can't wait. I'm getting into this, and it's season is picking up, and I'm really enjoying having these conversations with you. And I think
Absolutely,
we're
me
gonna,
too. And it's going to
Yeah,
be
it will.
interesting to see where these writers go, how they
Yeah,
take the story, because it's important to see how somebody else thinks, how they maneuvering, and good writers, want to keep you in suspense, what they supposed to. So
yeah,
hopefully they continue to do that with the watchers, and we'll keep trying to find where they went right at and where they went wrong, and let them know that you should have did it like this. You did it wrong. You didn't get it right that time. and
yeah.
I'm enjoying doing that.
Well, this is the After the Snow podcast, exclusively from Breakbeat Media, and the only show for fans and viewers of Snowfall that want to know, the real deal, the real story, and get into a lot of things surrounding Snowfall. So keep in tune, subscribe on Apple or Spotify to the podcast. We got a lot more coming. Go to Breakbeat Media on YouTube, and you can watch us and check out the other shows on Breakbeat Media. Got a bunch of other great stuff going on. Shout out to the rest of the Breakbeat team. Don't Call Me White Girl, Chappin Anonymous, Coach Roddy, um, Funny Marco's on the way real soon. Couple more big announcements coming. We got this Larry Hoover podcast series coming that's going to be amazing. We've been working on that now, since last year. The Unsigned Hype story is coming, 8-part series. Tell the whole backstory of everyone that was discovered through Unsigned Hype in the Source magazine. And man, we got a lot. So I'm excited.
Stay on the
Live
move,
from,
Dave. Stay on the move,
yes,
man. That's why I like you.
yeah. Back in
Keep it going.
Chicago. Uh, yeah, Rick, I got to get out to LA soon, so we're gonna, hopefully we'll do some shows together out in LA before this season ends.
No doubt. Well, if you get time, come up to the fight in Philly, man. Come hang out. We're gonna
Yeah,
we gonna
yeah,
turn up there.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I may just do that. I might
that'll
just
be
do that.
big, man.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
If you do, I got your
See
tickets.
y'all in a few
I got
days.
your tickets. If you come, I got
Okay.
your tickets.
Okay. Okay.
All right, peace.
That give me a reason. That'll give me a reason to go back to DC, go see my family, and then get right on up there to Philly. Little hour and a half, couple hour drive. Be there.
1:45.
All right.
That's what it is. 1:45.
Okay.
1 hour and 45 minutes. I did it the other day.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Peace.
All right.
I'm out.
Peace.